friends.
Hey, friends.
Hi, friends.
Wi-Fi Pod episode 21.
Ooh.
Welcome.
I don't know what 21 year anniversary is. What's 20?
I don't know.
You know
Oh.
20? Diamond? Gold?
We'll go with
Silver?
diamonds.
No, 25 is silver.
No, 10 is diamond.
Oh, we passed the diamond one.
Oh, are we talking about gifts?
Or like, yeah.
I don't know. Beyond 10.
What's 10 is diamonds?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
You already bought them for me.
I did. You're right.
Yes.
Those are good for at least another decade.
10-year engagement ring upgrade.
What year are you on?
Man,
What year
10.
was it? 10?
10.
Yeah.
well, it will be in January.
But it was 10 years since our engagement already.
Ah, yes.
Oh, that was just like last week or so, right?
That was a
month ago.
A few weeks ago.
Wow,
A couple weeks
where's
ago.
time?
Time
We
is
are-
weird.
Time.
Don't even
Time-
get Matt started about
Isn't
time
it
right
really though?
Seriously.
now. Like, he was like,
Let's-
where did June go?
Let's talk about it. Really though.
It's our
Where
front
did it
desk.
go?
Okay, this segment is our front
It's our
desk.
front desk.
Checking in about just time and its inevitable march forward. Time is weird. I had the thought. I said to Jeannie, what happened to June? I literally don't remember June other than the Berkshire Yoga Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember.
That was June? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
June.
What else happened?
I don't
Reggae
know. There's
Fest.
something that happened. Yeah, Reggae Fest. It was like 2 new moons ago when I started to feel like the new moon was the full moon and the full moon was the new
yeah,
moon.
we were having that moment.
And remember, it was like I was consistently a week. I was
We're
out a
like,
week. That
it's
was
the full moon. I'm like, no, it's not.
what is happening? I mean, generally that might be me. However,
No, time
There's
has
definitely-
definitely been squiggly.
it's been coming up on my feed lately about, did you quantum leap?
Yeah.
Yeah, time jump. Did you
Time
time
is
jump?
weird.
Time
It's
jump.
definitely some Jeremy Bearimy going
Jeremy
on.
Bear Me, yeah.
Did you watch A Good Place?
The Good
Mm.
Place.
Show? The
Yeah.
Good Place.
Yes.
The Jeremy Bearimy timeline.
I was like, where is that from?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
Such a good
That's
show.
good.
I like that one, yeah. I didn't watch the last season. I think I kind of like fell off.
Oh
of
my
it, but-
God!
Gotta
Go
do it.
home right now. Get off this podcast and go
Hi,
finish it.
everybody.
It has an ending. Like it's a planned ending, and it is so satisfying.
Oh, okay, good.
So-
Because it kind of teetered off a little
Yeah,
bit.
got a
it
little
does.
weird.
It
Yeah.
does.
It circles back.
They
Okay.
spend a lot of time jumping
Great.
through
Now I have something
afterlives.
to
Yeah.
tune into.
Yes, but the ending is very good.
Okay, cool.
You know what? That's gonna. Well, are we done front desking about time?
I just feel like there are days where I'm like up and not like not the days where like I go back to sleep in the morning because I didn't sleep well or something like that. But days where I'll get up, it is 7:00 in the morning, and the next moment it's 3:00 in the afternoon.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like-
how it's been. Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened to this entire
Right.
day?
I thought being summer, it would feel different because the sun rises so early. We would feel
Mhm.
like we have
Yeah.
a longer day. But no, time is just slipping.
Oof.
So weird.
I think I need to get into a thing where I break up my day in like 3 parts,
Yeah.
where I can like literally
Mhm.
recognize this is the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now we're in the
It's a
mid.
very intentional activity.
Yeah, because I feel the same, where I'm doing something, and then before I know it, like you said, it's like 3:00,
Yep.
and it's like,
So weird.
whoa, what was I just doing that whole time? It felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
definitely productive,
Yeah.
and it
I mean,
also, yeah.
Doing the work and getting sucked into it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, it's 3:00. Did I even eat today? Have I
Right.
showered?
Oh my
What's
God.
going on?
These are generally questions that Blair will ask me, and I'm sure
Mhm.
Matt
Oh, yeah.
does the same.
Yeah, I
It's
have to
like-
be concerned about whether
Then
you
I
ate.
tried to avoid.
Yeah.
I avoid the questions.
So, if you're all wondering out there how Wi-Fi is doing, that's
We
a
think it's
good-
April.
That's a good snapshot.
Keeps on slipping,
It's like April to us.
slipping.
We are holding on. I
and,
won't
it's also,
say.
and it's also October.
I won't say we're holding on by a thread.
No.
But-
No, I mean, I
No.
definitely, what was it? Last month I said we're elevating. We're all elevating.
Oh, are we just elevating beyond
We're-
time? Linear
I
time?
think we're elevating maybe too quickly. We need to
Okay.
slow it down,
Slow it
Wi-Fi.
All right.
Pump the
All right.
brakes.
Pump the brakes.
Um,
Squish the elevation a little
All
bit.
right, so that's for front desking, and we're all concerned about our approach to time. The concern is warranted.
Uh-huh.
Does anyone have an Edelweiss for today? The Edelweiss segment of the show? And you got a favorite thing?
The Edelweiss segment of the show
Well, you guys both were not here.
is our
I was
favorite
like-
thing.
Okay, so last week I
Coming up with new stuff over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, we started it last week.
'Kay.
And I decided I wanted to bring up a TikTok account that I found and love.
'Kay.
I said to myself as I'm thinking about it, this is my new favorite thing. And like, it's going to be a segment on our Wi-Fi pod, but it has to have a name. So I immediately went to, once I said favorite thing, I went to the song from Sound of Music. So I was going to name it something after something from the Sound of Music. And I texted Jeannie.
That's why you text me that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get questions and I'm like, I don't even know.
Without context, they're weird. So then we landed on the Edelweiss segment.
The Edelweiss segment.
Right. So if you didn't listen to last week's Edelweiss segment for me, it was a TikTok account called Maximal Nostalgia. 10 out of 10 recommend. Most of it is pictures of nostalgia stuff, but it's all to the same background.
It's like pictures from the JCPenney catalog from the 80s.
It's so good. But it's all the background track is
gosh.
the same song. It's like soft 80s jazz.
Yeah.
I'll play it for you when we're done. It's really
Okay,
good.
cool.
I have a favorite thing.
Go for it.
I have an Edelweiss thing. Porch naps.
Yeah.
Porch naps.
Sabrina felt that in her soul.
Like,
Like if I close my eyes, I can feel it.
why does it
there.
feel so good to take a nap outside in the shade,
'Cause that's
in
where
the
we're supposed
breeze?
to be. We're supposed to be outside in
Oh,
the breeze.
I love it so
I
much.
know.
I love it. And I feel like because I'm on my porch, it's not like super buggy.
Mhm.
You know, like I've tried to like lay down and take a nap on like the back patio,
Right.
but then there's bugs.
Yeah.
And then I get grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just am really loving the like full stop midday,
Mm-hmm.
Siesta.
read like a chapter in my book, my fun book, non-school book.
Is it one of the two?
The one I
nons-
denied, I was like, no. They're like, do you want to join
Oh,
book
the book
club?
club,
And I
yes.
was like,
You're like, no.
I was like, yeah. Justin like, do you really want to? I was like, no.
No.
Is this one of your two non-school books a week?
2 non-school books a week. And then just like falling asleep on
Yeah.
the couch, on the porch, on the little futon. Oh my God.
It's a practice.
It's so good.
It's such a
Love
practice.
it
Like,
so
I'm going to
much.
let myself do this. It's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
It's like you're talking to yourself.
And it
when
doesn't have to be long.
No.
No, 20 minutes. Half
Oh,
hour.
it's so great.
Although I will say, after Sunday Soul Love class, well, we started the 11-day challenge, and then we went into Sunday Soul Love. And this is Sunday, so we just got back from Omega Friday night.
Shameless plug. I love it.
Mhm.
Right? Love
Nice.
that.
Good job.
Send me an email if you want to learn more. But anyway, after that, Blair had gotten off a night shift. So I was like, I'm going to go in and cuddle with him. And I laid down. I woke up. It was like 1:30. I was like, but I felt so good. I felt like I slept years.
Nice.
4 years.
We call that a Rip Van Winkle.
That must have been what happened on Saturday, I think. Did we take a nap on Saturday?
What was Saturday?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like I got back Friday evening.
Okay.
Saturday, I taught. No, I didn't teach on Saturday. What did I have to do on Saturday?
I don't know.
I don't remember. But I think that we took an afternoon nap, and I definitely felt like, whoa, that was long. Like, it was not that long, but it was definitely not like a 20-minute, 30-minute. And I had felt like I just needed to recharge after Omega.
Yeah.
It was a lot of output. But, oh, so good. Naps are my favorite things.
Yeah, they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hard to argue. I'm fortunate, or I remember I told my sister once, this is probably over 10 years ago. I'm like, she asked me how my day was for a week. I'm like, yeah, I just took a nap. And she's like, how often do you do that? I'm like, every day. They're like, what? Every day? I mean, granted, she had her
Two small kids.
Her kids were probably, toddlers at the time.
She was like,
And
F off.
And this was like after the school day. I'm out at 3, home by 3:20,
Yep.
asleep at 3:30, and then by 4 I was awake. It
Yeah.
was just not like a 2-hour nap every day.
Yeah.
And she thought it was the most gluttonous thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not. I think it's a nice little recharge.
It is.
Yeah, because then you go to do the things and you're actually there, you're present, you're awake,
Refreshed.
you're
Absolutely.
refreshed. That was like when we sat down here, I was like, now everybody close your eyes.
We all should meditate for 10 minutes before. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we're not.
We're here to talk about
Something I
have never done.
have never
yeah, what
done.
are we talking about,
We're talking about
Matt?
rebirthing practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never done it.
Correct.
I have never witnessed it. Because
Correct.
sometimes I know you are leading one, and it's usually like in your office or the
Mhm.
other room, and I can tell it's a Kundalini practice, but don't know much about it, other than if you're going to do it, please give your spouse some leeway and kindness. If your dinner that you get afterwards is not prepared in the way you thought it would be. That's my experience with rebirthing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Would
might have gotten home on Friday.
Oh yeah.
I might have had some like after rebirthing
Mhm.
things happening.
So we did a rebirthing practice at Omega,
Okay.
and Sabrina so graciously, Francine has also so many times been the model. Madigan also been the model in a rebirthing practice, which deserves like utmost respect and honoring of people who are like, yep, I will get on camera for everyone to see, or in the front of the room for everyone to see, and do this healing practice so people know what to do and what motions to do and how to sit and mudras and breath and all of that. I will model this practice, which essentially means you're doing it with an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy.
And I'm sure in the next few minutes you will explain why it is more intense. Is that the right word to use? Powerful, potent.
Potent.
Yeah, potent, and I would say very intentional
Yep.
All
in a
right.
sense.
All right.
It's a very energetic practice. And when you think about a typical yoga class, even a yoga class where you might have had like an emotional release afterwards, which I feel like a lot of people have, this is primarily focused on the energy layers of the body, not on the physical body. Although there's some breath practices, there's a lot of pranayama, and there's guided meditation and imagery that does bring you like into the physical body and into the mental body. But most of the healing happens through the energetics. And so it is a deeply healing practice specifically for trauma, childhood trauma, the full spectrum of traumatic experiences. It helps heal and bring out where these things are like located within the body so that they can be bioavailable, and then we can process and digest them out. So sometimes there's like intense memories or grief or anger that comes up, and you just kind of go through it. Like you intentionally go into the storm and through the storm to come out on the other side, rather than what we typically do, which is like, well, that thing happened in the past. There's nothing I can do about it, so I'm going to squish it.
Or it
You
comes
know.
up and then we cut it off and like move on to something else.
Right. But then it's just simmering under the
Right.
surface. So like it's right there, not fully digested, and someone cuts you off in traffic and you're like a raving lunatic about this, rather than being like, I processed that at a time that I chose to and actively went into it. So it doesn't need to come out spontaneously when I don't mean it to at the people that we love. But sometimes what can happen is after a rebirthing practice, you can be particularly sensitive, vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still a digestion process that's happening after that. So even in the more gentler, easeful rebirthing practices, you're shaking things out of the layers of the deep layers of the energetic body.
Mm-hmm.
So that might still be there being processed when you encounter
Your spouse
your spouse
for dinner.
for dinner.
I'm sure. I mean, it doesn't take a literary genius to know that I am just laying the seeds of a story that's about to come out right now. Or maybe I'll wait and you can continue. Sorry.
So, we do rebirthing practices because, and we're talking mostly about like what happens in the time period. You do some breathing, intentional breathing, guided imagery, guided meditation. You go into it and then you come back out of it and you shake the body, walk around, write, do some more processing so that it continues the digestion process even after the practice is over. What we don't often talk about, because the experience is so wide and varied and it's not one size fits all, is that some people have profound experiences during, and some people have it after. Some people feel almost immediate lightness after the practice is done. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. But ultimately, what does shake out is anything that feels like oppressive and dense and just kind of looming or hanging over you. The most, I would say, common reflection that students give is that they feel like they've taken off like a weighted blanket or jacket.
Oh, wow.
And so they feel energetically lighter, brighter, like they can walk in a different way without this like cloud hanging over them.
It was so beautiful. This time in person, we got together afterwards and chatted with one other person. Like, how do you feel in this moment? That was after rebirthing, right?
Yeah.
An Omega?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we finished the rebirthing. Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I'm telling you, I was like in a whole nother realm. I was like, and it's amazing. Like, you just go into this allowing yourself to be open. I didn't go into it with any, I'm going to go into this memory. I'm going to go into this pattern.
Expectations.
Yeah, no expectations. I was just committed to the process of it. And to me, like when I practice or I model in a sense, like when I'm in it and I stay in it, to me, like that's one, I'm doing it for me, but it feels like a sense of like holding space for the room, in a sense, like giving permission to just go into it. And so I did. And while like being here and there at the same time, right? Like aware of this if I was needed for anything, but I was like,
Right, because you are
I was definitely in it
as a participant because you're doing the practice, but also you're a model and you're kind of like an example. So like it's almost like teacher.
So
and
I don't want to
student
be
at the
like,
same
I don't want to
time.
be up there start screaming or something and in that nature, but really just allow. And afterwards, so just the imagery that comes up and the things that arose, and it's interesting because this wasn't my first one. I've been through many rebirthings, and it's each time I go back and it gets easier. Like the memories and the thoughts and the feelings, you know, those cellular memory of the body, like it gets easier and it gets less heavy and it feels very freeing. And it's almost like I was just watching that play out as an observer,
A witness.
as a witness. And just kind of sending love to it. And then afterwards, I was paired with one of the other participants. And we sat across from each other like this. And just, how do you feel? And we were both kind of like just talking in the air at the same time. I feel this. I feel this. I feel this.
So the instructions were not like, how do you feel? Express emotions and tell these trauma stories that you just witnessed in your mind, potentially. But what sensations do you feel in your body now? And so it got them like immediately dropped into their physical bodies. And so you were going back and forth with physical sensation.
Yeah. So shout out to my partner at that time, if you're listening. And we were going back and forth. And at the end, we were laughing. We were like, we feel like children. We felt like we were two old friends, like little kids sitting across from each other and just kind of like floating up in the ether, but really grounded at the same time.
And a lot of times, however, like we can go into those memories, go into those experiences, and we digest them and we feel better afterwards. But there's still that egoic mechanism that is going to come in. And the ego so astutely doesn't want you to forget your trauma stories because it perceives that it needs them to keep you safe.
Right.
So it will almost be looking for an example of a similar trauma story, right? So for me, you know, because we're going to tell the story of of me coming home from a rebirthing training.
Was that your first rebirthing?
No, that was a training. Like we were being trained to do it.
Oh, so you were taking it as a student to be able to train others.
To be able to teach other people, to guide other people through it. And, you know, so one of my things is being a burden and having that memory often as a child and feeling like I couldn't ever ask to be taken care of because that wouldn't happen. And the opposite would very often happen. Like, you know, I would be too needy. And so then I would kind of was like, you know, go sit over here and just occupy yourself. It's too much. So carrying that around from childhood and then moving through it in a rebirthing practice. And then I'm driving home from this training. And before I left, I text Matt
Where was it?
in Syracuse.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do I
I'm
thought,
like, did Matt just leave the room and come back?
I thought that you were
He was
doing.
looking in the Akashic records.
I thought this was done at Lansing. Are
No,
you sure?
100%.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, because a lot of times Kundalini trainings used to be in these weird hotels, like Days Inn in like a ballroom.
Conference room or something.
Yeah, no, it's so weird. So I had done the training and it was like an hour drive home and it was a colossal snowstorm. Like I had to drive like 25 miles an hour the entire way home. So it actually took even longer. But I texted him before I left, like this training was not held well as far as safe container space. So we did this really intense rebirthing practice to the point where the person that was next to me started vomiting.
Oh gosh.
That's the only time I've ever seen that happen. And
In the studio.
she vomited a little bit on her mat and then she left and she never came back in and nobody went to check on her.
Holy cow.
And then after that, like they were just like, okay, bye, go get lunch. And we were all like,
Where did
somewhere
this person
else.
go?
Well, and I was worried about her. And I definitely was like, wait, I can't eat right now. Like, I feel completely disembodied.
Right.
There wasn't a like come together and ground. There
Like,
wasn't.
cool down moments.
Yeah, it was
Or
so like
suggestions.
abrupt.
I thought that was beautiful for Omega being in person. Suggestions of what you could possibly do or feel called to experience after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to Wegmans somehow and wandered around Wegmans crying.
I've been doing that lately too.
Well, that's because they moved everything around.
Oh my god.
That's because you're, never mind. I was going to mention another store, but that you're
Oh,
boycotting.
God.
But we won't say it over the. So now he's ticked off at Wegmans.
So then I just couldn't figure out what to buy to eat. And so I didn't eat anything. So by the time the training was over and I was starving and then like asked Matt to make me food and have it ready when I got home.
Key word, have it ready.
And
I mean, that wasn't the issue.
And I walked in and I was like, did you make food? And he was like, I'm just going to put it in the microwave. It's only going to take a couple minutes.
Right. Like and this was a plan. This wasn't,
Right.
oh crap, I forgot.
Right.
This
It was like frozen Indian food.
right. It was
Yeah.
Trader Joe's frozen
Pop it in the
Indian
microwave.
food.
And I was like,
And it's not like you've never eaten
microwave food before.
You're
Right.
like, yes, and you have eaten that food microwaved
Many times.
Many times.
Many times.
Yeah.
And I just lost it.
Yeah. You are not happy.
I was so upset. I was so hungry. I was so tired. And I was like, I don't even have food. And now the food I'm going to eat is not going to have any nutrition.
Oh yeah. You were like, can't believe you're in the microwave. It loses all its nutrients. What am I even eating? Oh, you were so upset.
I was
Why
so
would you
upset.
do this?
Like, why
I
would
was
you
so
do
upset.
this? You stupid man.
And ultimately, I was like, see, I can't ask for what I need. It's a burden. And so he didn't want to do it. So now he's doing like the quickest way possible to not have to deal with me. You know, like it just, the ego comes in so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. And then you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what that was. That's what that was. But on the other side of these practices is like this space of not feeling like you're being held captive by memories that you're not even really walking around conscious of most of the time, but they still have a hook.
Right. They're there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they play out in like how you hear people and how you perceive situations. So rebirthing really does a lot of work in a very concentrated period of time. And I think all different modalities of therapy are fantastic and like use all of them, many of them, buffet of therapeutic practices. And I think that for me, moving through things through the body is a much more efficient way for me to heal. And I've seen that also be true for a lot of our students because they're like, I've gone to therapy for 20 years and I couldn't get past this mark. And then I do one rebirthing and I've gotten past it. And I'm like, I would argue that it was a combination of both. Like that you did the pre-work,
Right.
and then rebirthing arrived right on time for you. So this is why I always tell students, they're like, when's the next one? When's the next one? And I'm like, the next one, if it is time for you, will it will show itself. It will arrive right on time. It will work in your schedule. It will all of those things for you to be able to experience this level of rebirthing.
For a little while there, I think I went into every practice. She's probably not going to like this. I went into like every practice as a rebirthing. Like just all my normal practices. It's like, you know, you don't
With
have
like
to.
the either expectation
all my
or
normal
intention.
practices, just let it, you know, come out reborn. I didn't go into any specific memories or anything, but when I felt what I felt from a rebirthing practice, I said, you know, this is like, you know, it is Kundalini. And I'm like, this is like, you know, this breath work feels familiar. This feels familiar. Obviously the Kriyas are very concentrated and intentional. And then, you know, like I said, I started practicing in a way of like, all right, we're going to shake this off, whether it was what happened 10 minutes ago or whether something comes up from when I was 8 years old. I don't know, you know.
How long is a rebirthing practice?
They vary, but typically there's like 20 to 25 minutes of like concentrated like intensity.
So like a kriya, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yep. There's a warm up of some sort or meditation before, and then there's some kind of wrap it up meditation mantra at the end. Shavasana sometimes, often. Not always though. And then some kind of like writing, reflecting, you know, inquiry type of practice that comes after that. And then like another movement to shake it off. Like you might just be like jumping or shaking out your arms, shaking out your legs, moving around a room, like just walk around the room, stomp around the room to get the energy like the rest of the way up and out.
Wow.
Yep. Because I probably would not have had as intense of a reaction coming home from that training if there was the bookend.
Container held. Yeah.
Different container, but also just like the bookend of like you just brought all this up to the surface.
Take it home.
Have
to
a
your
good
husband.
lunch.
It felt like it was like, here you go. It's on a platter. But then like put it in the backseat of your car.
Right.
And take it out of the car and throw it at your husband when you walk in the door. Just kidding.
After this one, I told you, I said, I'm going to call my mom. Not then, but like I said, I think we're going to have a Christmas gathering where we're going to watch The Miracle on 34th Street. This all came to me like during the Kriya. And it's so interesting because I'm there. Like I'm having this experience, but it's almost like.
Was this your most recent one?
Yeah.
These thoughts you had?
Yeah, these thoughts I had, you know, because I had this
She
image.
was like, I'm going to call my mom. I'm like, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, not right now. And I haven't. But, you know, when Christmas time comes around, it's intentional. I was like, this will be good. We're going to have a movie night around Christmas and we're going to watch our favorite movie. And I'm like, why? Like, we ask, like, why do these things come up? Why why then did I think of this at that time? And I could sit there and analyze it. And sometimes I just let it be what it is. And whatever arrived.
Wow.
I had a memory once in a rebirthing practice of my grandparents' den. So they had this den, which is funny because it was right off of, there's like an archway and right off of the main living room in the house. And this was considered like the playroom. So all the toys that were for any of us grandchildren were in there. I think though, at the time of my memory, I was still the only grandchild. And then there was this like long counter. And so all the toy boxes were underneath the counter. And then above the counter on the wall, it was just lined with guns. So it was a very interesting den to be in. It was like my grandmother's organ was in the corner.
Sounds like a den from the 80s for sure.
And then like just rifles and bow and arrow and like hunting paraphernalia. And then under was all the toys. And
was there cigarettes and ashtrays on there too?
No, not in there. Not in there. And so I just kept having this memory of like being like, I'm going to pull out this toy box and go underneath the counter and hide behind the toy box and see how long it takes for anybody to notice that I'm gone. Right? And I had to have been so young, but it was like, oh, this was clearly a thing for me at that time of like, being an afterthought or kind of being like shuffled around from person to person, like this burden of a core memory / wound. Right. And I kept going into that same place, like strawberry shortcake jammies on. and then like, I was like, but there has to be a resolution. Like I would never see the resolution of me either coming out and being like, you guys didn't look for me or whatever. And finally had the resolution, right, of like my uncle was laying on the floor in the living room so I could kind of see him, but I didn't think he could see me. And he was just like laying on his side watching TV. So he was always laying on the floor.
Who's this?
Uncle Steven. And then he must have noticed me, but he wanted me to not know that he noticed me. And so he came back into the den and he's wandering around just like pretending he's looking at stuff. And then he like squats in front of the counter and farts in my direction and then does like a sweep of the air behind him. And he's like, man, I sure am glad nobody's in this den because this fart stinks. And I was like so grossed out and very dramatic about the whole thing. But I remember him like pulling me out and being like, what are you doing, you weirdo? Like, stop hiding places and stop being weird.
He's not the funniest person I know.
Yep. It was
amazing.
So, you know, like, I think that you go into the painful memories, right? And again, egoic mechanism is going to be like, here's your story. We're going to stick to it. We're going to protect you from it. We're going to keep you on guard about it. And then you keep chipping away. And you're like, oh, there was a resolution. And it was like,
it's like a continuous dream. Like, you ever have a dream that continues and then like you kind of enter that dream state and you're like, this is like literally me in a dream. I have continuous dreams. And then I'm like, okay, I'm aware. I'm in this dream and I want to find out what happens next. So like, I'm just going to stay in this so I could see like what this next part is that I'm not remembering or I didn't get to yet. And that's...
But then what happened? So this is during a rebirthing. I'm then
what
having
part
this
is so
memory.
funny?
I'm still thinking about Uncle Steven.
I thought so.
So I'm still in the rebirthing and I'm having this memory. And so like when you're in a room of people doing rebirthing, you have no idea what they're remembering, what they're experiencing. So I've been to rebirthings where I'm crying. I've been to rebirthings where people are yelling,
You're
people
laughing,
are screaming, people are
like...
barfing. Then I'm like, I'm the person cracking up laughing. And I remember one time being in a rebirthing and someone was laughing and I was like, must be nice. Must be nice to have shit to laugh about with your childhood. Must be great.
God.
You know?
And
And
it's not a competition, Diane.
and then I was right back there just being like, oh, now I'm the laughing person, you know, like, can you get to that point where there isn't that heavy emotional charge anymore? Like you can talk about a trauma, you can talk about a wound, you can talk about whatever.
It's not bringing up that emotion or that feeling.
But it's not
with
like,
it.
here's all of my feelings I have about this trauma and I'm going to lay them on the person that I'm telling the story to. Like, it's neutral charge. It's not charged anymore.
Is this the same as like the Irishman's approach where there's trauma and we're going to laugh at it? Which I figured that because I feel like I laugh at a lot of stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, but I don't think it's the same in
Not
the way you mean it to be. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
My favorite rebirthing though is where we get to go in and like cut things out. We get to go cut memories out like a surgeon.
Is that like an intentional? Is that a part of every rebirthing?
No. Sometimes you just let them like move and watch them or watch you in them or redo them if there was anything you could have done differently in that painful moment or hard moment, to kind of like rewrite the script. But there's one that's like intentionally you're like slicing them out.
You could pick and choose. Like you could do a rebirthing, so to speak, and not do that part. Choose not to include that.
There
Kinda?
are different rebirthing practices.
Oh,
and
okay. So
each different
it's not like
rebirthing
a-
practice kind of has its own flavor.
Oh, this has layers to it.
So like that jar that you have there, for example.
Yeah.
So like if there was a lid on that, in a sense, like the creed that we did at Omega,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you're holding your hands like this, like these claws, and you're shaking it.
Oh, what's supposed to be here?
Whatever it is.
Oh.
Whatever.
What is
These are
it?
your claws.
What a good
Yeah.
answer.
What
They're
is
your
it?
Claws.
Like what's in the jar? You know, so like that's how
What's-
I felt when I was doing it. Like I was holding this jar, and as I like stayed with it, more and more things started to fill up this jar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I became like the frustration and the feeling within the jar.
Mm-hmm.
I felt myself as that, like shaking it up.
And then you become like a tiger, a lion.
Right.
And like you use your claws
Matt's face.
to like
I
attack
sorry.
the memory and like
Yeah.
shred it and like pull it and
Oh,
like
wow.
just go into the memory and like
Amazing.
like energetically claw it all out, scrape it all out, like kill it. You're killing that energetic
Let the-
density.
let the past die.
It's really, really wild.
Kill it if you have to.
It's not
Kylo Ren
You
said
got-
that.
Kylo
And
Ren quote.
You
Yeah.
kind of got to like move out from the mental, the silliness of what you feel in that moment. Like you
Yeah.
kind of just got to let yourself.
I don't
go
know if
into
I've
it.
ever felt silly in that particular.
Like when I
one.
first started, I was like, what are we, not this time, but like
Yeah.
previous, I was like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? Like, I'm like you know, and then it happens.
Yep.
And you're like, you're aware that it happens, that you're feeling that. And you're like, all right, well, I'm just going to stay with it. Like, one, important, like you feel grounded, you feel safe. Like if we go back to like these, you know, what we say is trauma, like the core of trauma, like how do I feel in this moment? I'm in it. I'm in a room. I feel
Yep.
grounded. I feel safe.
Yep.
Like,
Held,
I'm good.
supported,
I'm
not
good.
alone.
Yeah. So you know what? When am I going to get this opportunity again to kind of let myself really energetically move these things that are stored within my body?
Yep.
That do affect us on a day-to-day basis, whether we know it or not. We're tuned into it or not.
Well, that's
It's
the
there.
thing is it's like stress, pressure, cold depression, kind of feeling like you're walking through life like a zombie
Mhm.
and you've tried everything under the sun. To
Definitely
shake that
robotic.
off. Like you do a rebirthing practice. It's because what happens is you have all this dense energy that's within you and it feels imbalanced and it feels unsafe and it feels shaky. And then other stuff happens because life happens and human beings behave the way that they do. You know, the landlord comes and yells at people at 10 o'clock in the morning. And like that could crumble you. It could
Oh,
just
yeah.
tip you over.
And there's so many times that it has.
Yeah.
Like,
where it's
right?
like, I can't handle this. I'm so overwhelmed. Like I'm literally just like going to fall to my knees begging for some kind of like relief from life. When a situation like that wouldn't typically crumble you if you weren't already carrying around. It's like one more straw that breaks the camel's back, right? And so you have to remove the dense energy so that your internal weather, like your internal house, I always just think of the Three Little Pigs. Right? It's like you can have the house made of straw. You can have the house made of sticks and the weather's going to come
Yeah.
in. The big bad wolf's going to come in and it's going to blow your freaking house down. Or you can have a very solid, steady, brick-like internal landscape. And the weather that comes in
That's right.
is just not going to make any difference. But you have to
Create
do the
a
maintenance.
landscape that can withstand the weather, because the weather we can't control.
Right. And it's always going to happen. And that's what rebirthing does. It's like it makes it so you're not carrying the burden of weather that happened 40 years ago, you know, like 30 years ago. You're able to release that weather and that pressure. And then when new things come in, you're like, I can carry this for a bit. Like I can digest it. I can handle it because I'm not already bogged down.
So when I got home, some things had come up, just like things needed to be settled, and I just felt like I wasn't reactive to it. Right? I mean, this is a consistent Kundalini practice will also help you with that. And you know, it's like we move from a place of reactivity to pause, step back.
Responding. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, babe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a meditation practice that helps that as far as the creating space between stimulus and response.
Mm-hmm.
Had one for a while,
Yeah.
but I have not done rebirthing. Sounds
Mm-hmm.
You've not done rebirthing
at all. Yet.
Yet.
Yeah. I mean, who are we kidding?
Whoop whoop.
All of these are on the horizon. Just don't know how far over the horizon just yet.
I recommend doing it online the first time.
Oh, okay. Like not in a
So-
physical space with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, as silly as it might sound, I'm upstairs guiding a rebirthing.
I never said it sounds silly.
No. I'm not saying that. You
Oh.
said. As silly as it would sound, for rather than you to come into the room with me
Mhm.
and do your rebirthing,
Oh.
right? Behind the camera, like not even other people can see you, but sign in to Zoom downstairs.
Oh, okay. So
And
actually
do
do it even home with you. We would do it in separate spaces.
Yeah, because then
Mhm.
you're just in your own energy space. You're not like
Mm.
nobody knows what experience you're having.
Because the ego could kick in, you know, like you want to cry and then
Don't cry.
something's telling you don't,
Don't
cry.
cry.
Like someone's going to see you
something's
cry.
telling you
and then-
don't.
Yeah.
Don't
but
do
I
it.
mean, that has a whole story in itself.
Yeah. So to be in like camera off, own
Yeah.
space, dark room, like nobody
Make
knows.
your, like we say,
Nobody
make
knows.
yourself a nest. Like
Mhm.
what is going to bring you comfort? Like you might have 3 blankets. You don't use any of them, but like they're there,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, and you just don't have to worry. You won't have to worry about your subconscious coming in being like, people are
Yeah.
listening to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
People can hear what your process is. This is vulnerable. It takes a lot. I mean, we did a relatively gentle rebirthing practice at Omega, and you know, a lot of us are like very empathic and compassionate, energetically attuned people. So it's hard to be in a room where you're hearing people cry and not like, are you okay?
Yeah.
You know, like, can I get you tissues? Right. So, and to stay in your own energy field. So if you're new to rebirthing, I do think that it gives you an even safer little cocoon and nest to do it the first time in your house, in the quiet, nobody around, sound off, video off, like whatever you got to do.
Well, shoot. I can't keep putting these things off forever, can I?
Does it sound intriguing?
Oh, it sounds very intriguing. It's I've actually never really sat down and had you explain it to me or heard anyone really explain it. I just, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, it sounds, frankly, it's like, oh, that's a little weird because you hear of like rebirthing therapies.
Oh yeah, don't.
It's
It's not
something
that.
like, you
Kundalini
are
rebirthing is different than that.
right. And that's the only thing I heard of that was even remotely similar to Kundalini rebirthing. So then I said to myself, seems a little difficult to try to get into. I don't know. But then it's been several times where you say, oh, I have a rebirthing tonight. And you go upstairs and you do it. And then I can hear you. And it's like, oh, these are just, it sounds like she's doing a Kriya with some mantra before and after.
Yep.
This is par for the course. So
Yeah.
This is not unusual.
Yeah, it's
so
not.
then my brain gets curious to think,
Mhm.
oh, well, what's the difference between this and what makes it rebirthing? And it's usually where the thought ends because when you're done, you come downstairs and you're obviously like, say winded, but you've obviously led a fairly intense practice and you're
Yeah.
hungry and I'm making you food. So then it's like, you don't
Yeah.
want to just talk about what you just did. You're going to give you some time. And
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh, I have to go to bed now.
You know, like the things that you just don't think about. Like, when I was younger, I would always listen to the cassette tape of Jewel and my dad's 87 Scirocco until the car battery would die. And I would go out there and listen to it. And like, that's just like a memory, you know? And then, so I remember like one time I went into that memory for whatever reason. And I wanted to find out why that little girl was in the car. Why did she want to do that? And her feelings that were with that and everything. And so while that was just like a memory of, yeah, I remember doing that, listening to music, jamming out. However, like when it came up for me in that time, it's like that dream. Well, what's the next thing? What am I doing here? It's like
Right.
you just arrive and you're like, what am I doing here? And so you just start
Where did this
observing.
come from?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
and
like,
then,
how did I get
so
to
it's
this
almost like
scene?
you're to me, it's all for me, and this is my experience. It's almost like I'm there observing myself. And then sometimes you go back to these same memories and it's different. It's so different. And it doesn't have that hurt or that sadness or whatever that feeling is attached to it. And I've gone back. I was like, I thought I was done with this. And then really it's just like you're just like sending love. To me, it's just like you're filtering love to that person, almost like that person wasn't me. It was me. It is me. But you're able to be there almost. There's times where I felt like I arrived, like time leaped back into that time.
Yes.
And I felt like I was a guardian angel
Maybe.
for myself
Who
in
says you
that
didn't?
time. I
Weren't
know.
we just talking
I
about
could go.
this?
I just got chills.
Weren't we just talking about this? I swear we
got chilly
were.
chills.
I swear we talked about
Well,
this at Omega.
Well, I think, yeah.
Did we?
But that's what happened when I got sick in my senior year of school. And one of the times in a rebirthing, I had a mixture of medicine that they gave me. You weren't supposed to take the two together. And I had gotten this intuition, like something came to me and it said, don't take that anymore. And so I stopped taking it, went to the doctors and everything. The whole thing was found out that it was. Anyway, I went back to that memory in a rebirthing Kriya and I saw myself standing. I'm laying here. I saw myself standing here and said, don't take that.
Yeah.
It's not, don't.
Oh my God, this is like
Yeah.
Bill
Yeah.
and Ted's Excellent
It
Adventure.
is. It
you know,
is.
at
So-
the end when they're like,
Uh-huh.
well, we got to go and do all the things to make sure that we're successful when we did it the first
Yeah.
time. Like we see them, like I remember
So got chills.
Keanu Reeves is like, trash can, remember the trash can. And they're like, what? Then the trash
Yeah.
can falls on like their dad as they're trying to get
Yes.
out of the prison. It's like, that's how they were able to get out. You went back to see yourself to
Yep.
give you the, oh my
That's
God.
it.
Mind blown.
I'm
right
telling
now.
you, there were so many times in my young life where I'm like, I should not have been as confident that everything would be okay as I was. And I felt like divinely, like,
Oh, like you were guided to the safe, right outcome somehow.
right. Or like, or I received a message that was like, this is all going to work out. Like, don't stress about this. It is all going to work out. And like, and then remembering those moments in my life where I'm like, there's no reason I should have felt this okay about what was, somewhere I received a message. And then those exact scenes would come up in my rebirthing. And I'm like, yeah, there was time. It's time travel. It's like
Wow.
some kind of quantum
Oh my God.
Yeah.
thing where like your energetic, your luminous body, light bodies are going back to that younger self and arriving and sharing a message.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds out there, but I've felt that
Same.
so many times. I mean, like, as clearly as seeing a pregnancy test being positive at 16 years old and being like, this baby is gonna be amazing. Like, she's gonna be so smart and she's gonna teach you so much and you really don't have to worry about this. And now I'm like, well, Jesus.
Yeah.
Man. Quantum leap is what you
Quantum
gotta call it.
leaping.
Quantum time heist.
Healing.
DeLorean.
Yeah, I mean,
Quantum
it's
time
so-
healing.
Seriously,
Yeah.
we gotta think. I'll workshop a
Well-
different name to rope in people who hear rebirthing and are like, I'm like, well, if
Uh-huh.
you call it like
Yeah.
some form of like Tony Stark's time heist, quantum leaping,
Time heisting.
telephone booth travel DeLorean.
All I have to say is, like, when I did mention that just a few moments ago, that share, I just felt like this whole, when you say truth, like, when you say truth and
You
you just
feel all
feel
the
your whole
truth
light
bumps.
body, like start to illuminate. And it's like, good job. You did it. You said it. Yeah. You spoke truth.
I
Yeah.
kind of I experienced that
And
not too long ago. I said something to myself. I'm like, in 5 years, I'm going to experience this thing right here, and I could see it and feel it. So I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, weird.
And
Yeah.
your whole body
It's
responded.
possible.
It did. I was just like,
Yeah.
that feels like it fits.
That's your radiant body
That's
expanding.
your radiant
Wow.
body.
Yep.
Well, shoot,
Yes.
It's a mark of truth.
man, we got to rebrand it
Yeah.
to rope in the people who aren't into the rebirthing name. That's all. We just got to tweak the name a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All
We'll,
right. Well,
we'll workshop it.
we'll workshop it out.
I love it.
Here we go.
This has been fascinating. Once
Yeah.
again,
Thank you.
I am more well off after this hour than I was before.
Pro marriage tip. If you want to teach your spouse about something, Talk about it on a podcast.
Oh, I feel like I was just hornswoggled.
Hmm.
Well, not the first time. It won't be the last time. Thanks, guys. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Yay.
The Wi-Fi Pod. This
Thanks,
is Matt.
friends.
This is Jeannie.
This is Sabrina.
Thanks, everyone.